50 Cent hopped online and said, damn, they got your man Jay in the Epstein files. I got to do a doc on this shit. I should have known he was going to hop online and say something like 50 Cent. He cannot stand Jay-Z. If it's two people in the industry who he cannot stand, it's Diddy, number one, and Jay-Z, number two. And it's just wild how all this coming out. They saying that Jay-Z and Pusha T name is in the Epstein files. Like, what the hell is going on?
For decades, power protected itself through silence. Now, 50 Cent is forcing the conversation into the open as Jay-Z's name resurfaces in records linked to Jeffrey Epstein, and the cost of proximity to untouchable circles comes back into focus.
But to listen to people say, and just because people's names was mentioned doesn't mean anything. And these aren't official anything. This isn't this and this isn't that, and you people aren't paying attention and you're not reading. And it's just like, okay, all right. You're right. You're right. None of it's real. None of it's official, even though it came from the FBI. It was only a tip line, which is really interesting because they kept all of this shit. Why would they keep it if it had no validity? More importantly, I'm still trying to figure out how anybody can be attached to the name Epstein and being mentioned in anything that has any close ties to that and not looked at as absolutely fucking suspect. I don't get it. I don't get why people are so busy always trying to deny things. Meanwhile, they'll pin whatever they can on an innocent person and flip it and spin it until, it just goes, wild. And I don't know. But hey, who knows?
Well, Jack, since you brought, this conversation to go a few different places, but, let's go and talk about the Epstein in the room.
Sure. Let's talk. Yeah. Let's talk about the weirdo in the walls.
Yeah. It's interesting that you said that. As far as people not believing, this might be technically considered the largest scandal like that we've seen, like in our era, or just in American history right now. And just as of July of 2025, they've created this what is called the Epstein Files Transparency Act, where you can't. This stuff has to be put out there. My first question, before we even get into the list and the names, is why do you think the DOJ, the Department of Justice, kept these files hidden for so long? Whether through Trump or what's the reason we haven't seen these files?
It's not just the Trump administration. Don't forget the Biden administration had the ability to release these files as well, and they didn't either.
True.
So this isn't a political thing. Let's stop making it political. I think everyone wants to make it political. Oh, look at the politicians, and this isn't about the rappers, and this isn't about this, and this is about the politicians. No, it's not. No, it's not, because you got Democrats and Republicans equally aligned up in this whole foolishness. This is about a certain class of people in this country that have been doing all kinds of shit. And it really doesn't matter what your religious background is, what your social standing is, or what your political standing is. It really doesn't matter. This is not about them versus us.
For decades, power protected itself through silence. Now 50 Cent is pushing that silence into the open. His reported work on a documentary reframes the conversation. This is no longer just entertainment or rumor, but a test of accountability. When disruption shifts from headlines to structure, it raises a deeper question. How does an industry respond when scrutiny becomes unavoidable?
Hip blacks in hip cars with white women. That group should be in the streets. Has been bought off by Jay-Z. And then there was another email sent by Mark Lloyd to Jeffrey Epstein back in May of 2015. And it appears to be an article that this man got sent to his email account, and then he turned around and sent it to Jeffrey Epstein. And it talks about a couple different things. But one thing that is referenced in this email and even in the subject title is Jay-Z defends himself against Marina Abramovich accusation with proof of donation. And this article is when Marina Abramovich accused Jay-Z of not paying a donation to her institute after she appeared in his music video for song Picasso Baby. This is that music video that everybody remembers, and Marina is straight demonic and creepy as hell. Now, this is a tip back in 2009 that was sent to the FBI that references Jay-Z, Harvey Weinstein, and Pusha T. It says on July 10th of 2019 at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, someone called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to identify herself as a victim of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. This person said in approximately 1994, she revealed herself as a past victim of abuse by Epstein. She described the abuse that occurred during parties, and she also described someone as a friend of someone. In approximately 1996, she revealed that she resided with someone somewhere. An unknown man abducted someone from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, known as Jay-Z. This person claimed that Harvey Weinstein inserted his fingers into... She believed that she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. This person estimated that she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an indoor setting. She said that she suffered abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. She claims that she recalled Leon Black and William Barr, the current United States Attorney General, being present during some of the occasions of the abuse. And in approximately 2006, Blank last recalled being abused by Epstein. On each occasion, she believed that she was given substances, clouding her memory. She attributed this by being performed by people assigned as handlers, whom she described as persons who established friendships with the victims. Among her handlers, she identified artist Pusha T. In approximately 2007, Blake attended a party following invitation from an unknown man who approached her as she walked down the street. Weinstein and Pusha T attended the party and her before engaging in abuse. She claimed to have additional information of other people involved in the enterprise and information related to racketeering conduct in support of the trafficking. She further believed that she was under surveillance.
The resurfacing of materials tied to Jeffrey Epstein has reopened a familiar tension between presence and proof. Names, including Jay-Z and some references, appear within massive document releases where context matters as much as content. Inclusion alone is not confirmation of wrongdoing, but it exposes a broader issue: how powerful networks overlap and how proximity becomes normalized over time. When records expand beyond any single narrative, the question becomes who decides what deserves attention.
2 cyber companies. Look out, and even though I never met Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
And everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah. He looks under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir. P-A-L-L-E-N.
22 years ago.
Wow.
T-I-E-R. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company. And look out.
Palantir, P-A-L-A-N-T-I-E-R.
They don't even know how to spell it.
Yes.
It's so old. He's writing it down.
T-H-I-E-L-L-Y.
T-H-I-E-L.
L-L-Y.
No.
You can pause it here. Go ahead.
And the great, I love the fact that they did this work. And earlier in this recording, he says right up the jump too. He goes to Ehud Barak. Epstein goes, okay, so now you have to think like this: IOUs. Who owes you favors? Who owes you this? He goes, who owes you their life? So now you can play this game, and it's such a great audio because it shows exactly what Jeffrey Epstein was. He grabs all these people and how much power, what dirt do you have? And mind you, this was Ehud Barak. He was in charge of their intelligence in Israel. This isn't just a random nobody actor in LA. This is freaking huge, and I think it shows the web of what Epstein was about.
I want to show this. This is the last thing I want to stay on this topic, and Tom, I'll come to you if you have thoughts. And Rob, I want you to show this email. Look at this email here, okay? I just texted it to you. Look at this email here. Zoom in a little bit, Rob, if you could. Thank you. Hey, send from phone. Unfortunately not. Okay, unfortunately not. You should make clear that I don't work for Mossad.
Smiley face.
You see it? Yeah. You or I. No, that I don't. Yes. Smiley face. So, you mean, look, the claims that he was never part of Mossad or didn't work with them or collaborate with them, if you don't believe he did at this point of the game, you may work for Mossad. You know what I'm saying? That you may be them. By the way,
I don't believe that. No,
yeah. So no, but the point I'm making to you is Guess what Mossad's job is? To gather assets.
Of course.
And guess what CIA's job is?
Same thing.
Guess what MI6's job is?
Same thing.
Everyone, guess what KGB's job is? Every one of these guys that want to go out there, they want to get intel. So this guy was very useful to Mossad. And he gave them a lot of intel. But for him to sit there coaching him through how to make money, by the way, who's recording this?
Jeffrey Epstein is at the dinner.
Epstein is recording it?
Yes.
And they found this in the Epstein files.
Yes.
Of one of the 3 million files.
One of the and it's but it could
These disclosures reportedly span millions of pages, often arriving heavily redacted. That alone reshapes the idea of transparency, because what is released is rarely the full picture. Instead, it is filtered information that creates more ambiguity than clarity. When names appear without conclusions, the result is a gray zone, neither confirmation nor closure, leading to public confusion, suspicion, and competing interpretations. It raises a difficult question. Does this level of openness protect truth or preserve influence?
Parents who turn their kids over to this industry, I don't want to seem judgmental, but they seem to be more concerned with the wealth that comes along with and the privilege that comes along with than what's actually going to happen to their child. And it's funny because a lot of them, they're just in absolute complete denial. They don't even want to believe, that they signed their kids up for this. Oh, well, they promised me this and they promised me that. Yeah. Strangers promised you. Ooh, then that means something.
Yeah, there's a viral video of Rihanna winning her.
Man, that's why I said, I'm bored. I'm so bored. I'm so bored with people pretending to be shocked and outraged. I'm so tired of people calling people like me a liar. Who knows? Who knows? It honestly is, though. It's like a mind trip sometimes, just sitting around watching all of this stuff come out and looking at people and trying to figure out who's going to be staging the next cover up, who's going to be doing the next spin story, who's going to try to make this different. I mean, the truth is, even in the midst of all of this, 6 months from now, it's quite possible that there'll be a new break in the story, which will come out on TMZ, because TMZ is not only not reporting on the fact that Harvey Levin is in the files, but they're not reporting on Jay-Z being in the files either. It's funny, the things that they don't report on. If you want to know who's full of shit right now, look at who's not talking about this. You know how many YouTubers have not spoken about this at all? At all. It's wild. But hey, that's what it is.
There was a video
I just sit back and say, how eliminated.
There was a video of Rihanna winning an award, and she was thanking her parents. And Jay-Z, he stepped in and said, "Nah, she means to thank me." And he was being very overly aggressive. And you look at Rihanna's age at that time. You look at him. How much does power and influence, even for you, you were backstage, Song Cry, Unplugged. How much does power and influence come to those?
I was also a grown woman and I was pregnant.
Power in entertainment rarely operates in isolation. It moves through alliances, partnerships, and shared silence that can function as reputational protection over time. Access becomes credibility, and credibility can turn into insulation from consequences. This does not mean association equals guilt, but it does show how responsibility can become diffused across networks. If influence is collective, can accountability ever truly remain individual?
I'm just saying, they're calling me a damn liar. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If people still think that I'm crazy with everything that's coming out, then maybe you need to go and get your mental health checked. We got to it's gotten to the point where just calling somebody that's saying things that make you feel uncomfortable crazy is corny. It's corny.
All right, Jack. So let's do it like this, man. And I want to go in detail in this conversation as best possible. So Jay-Z, a lot of people in the beginning of all this were upset, I would say, about you going after Jay-Z, you going after Hove, and just this whole thing. And now, finally, that's why I said this conversation may be the most important one as far as people listening. I think the masses are finally letting the wool over their eyes and seeing that, no, there was a history here that we chose to get blinded by, maybe the music, the stardom, the billions, that we just weren't looking into. And you've been saying this the whole time. And like we said before, when you talk about someone's heroes, or when we put someone on a pedestal, we feel like we don't want to hear the bad things. Ignorance is very bliss. But now their ears are open, their eyes are open, and now they're talking. So before we speak on
they don't want to hear from me. They want to hear from the Onika.
Yeah, let's start with that. Nicki Minaj during the Grammys, and we'll get to the Grammys, but Nicki Minaj during the Grammys, she's not at the Grammys, but she is going on a tirade on Twitter. And she has got Jay-Z in a crosshair. Yeah. And she's saying things that, if you do your research, she's not too far off from facts. Let's just start with as far as
comments from Kanye West, once dismissed as erratic, are now being re-examined under a different light, not as proof, but as signals that were previously ignored. The cultural habit of discrediting uncomfortable voices can sometimes function as a defense mechanism for established systems. In hindsight, what was once labeled as noise is now being reconsidered as early warning. That leads to an uncomfortable question. How many signals were ignored simply because they disrupted the status quo?
With the case that I'm dealing with right now with Ashley Parham. She come up with all of these different details. She saying Drewski on the slip and slide. You feel me? I'm there pointing guns at Diddy and all these people. This type of stuff shouldn't even be allowed to come out, because this is hearsay. You know what I'm saying? So for them to say she woke up with Pusha T, Jay-Z, and Weinstein, bro, Pusha T is not no handler like that, bro. That's not what he do, bro. Anybody who's been around know that. Because when I was with Teyana Taylor, she was signed when I was security. She was signed to Ye and Pusha T. She was with them all the time, bro. I never seen none of that. And I would know, bro. I would know. Because the guy who was trying to sell the sex tape of him with Pusha T white, guy come to me with this. None of this stuff right here never came up. You know what I'm saying? Weinstein used to date Halle Berry. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's a fact.
That's crazy.
That's a fact. Well, they all sleep together in the industry like that. But you gotta be careful when you playing with Sean Carter, though, man. He too calculated for that. I just don't see it, bro. I just don't see that, because then what was the outcome of that?
Yeah, I don't see it either, man. It doesn't really seem, and this was in 1996. He wasn't even really famous. I don't even know if Harvey Weinstein would have been hanging around Jay-Z at this time. This is crazy. This is the year Tupac died.
Bro, that don't even add up. So you believe Jay-Z out the country right now?
I didn't hear that. Is that what they're saying?
They saying Jay-Z fled the country, but somebody just made one of those little memes, posted it up, and all the blogs running with it. Cause you go on Flight Radar, his plane is parked right there in New York. People don't got Flight Radar though. They don't know about them apps.
I don't see Jay-Z running like Russell Simmons. I think Jay-Z he gonna fight and defend his name. I don't think none of these crazy things have any real credibility. But 50 Cent is still wanting to make a documentary about Jay-Z.
Bro, 50, if they had awards for certain characteristics, if they had the petty award, like a championship, bro, he would get it every year, bro. He wild as hell. But see...
Claims from Nicki Minaj regarding industry retaliation and blacklisting sit between personal experience and structural criticism. While not legal evidence, they reflect allegations of quiet pressure within powerful systems. The broader concern is not about one individual case, but about what it means if careers can be limited without clear explanation. It raises the question of what incentives remain for speaking openly within such an environment.
You got to think about how the industry is and how they're all in the industry. But I said there's layers to it. There's different tiers. So it's like when news come out, some people want to unfollow so they don't lose their brand deals, Oh, you didn't hear what happened? What's alleged against Jay-Z? And we see that you're following him, deal gone, So some people are probably trying to separate themselves so they don't lose any brand deals, Let's see here. I'll read that again. Some major accounts, including celebrities and brands, are believed to have unfollowed him. At the time of reporting, Jay-Z still has around 1 million followers, and Beyoncé, along with Lindsay Lohan, Diddy, Ivanka Trump, and Kris Jenner, continue to follow him. Okay? Speculations suggest Kim Kardashian, Rihanna, Apple Music, and the NFL may have unfollowed him as well. That right there is huge. I mean, extremely huge. For one, when you look at, which is crazy too, because you got Kris Jenner, the mama of Kim, still follow him, but they're saying that Kim Kardashian unfollowed him. Rihanna, again, Jay-Z is one of the dudes, it was rumored some stuff with Rihanna and him and the whole Chris Brown situation. Again, I'm just saying rumors because we don't really know what the truth is. We can speculate, but yeah. Apple Music, man. Apple Music. But the NFL. Jay-Z, for you guys who don't know, I'm pretty sure most of you do, but Jay-Z is the one who, helps the NFL find the talent for the halftime shows. I remember Lil Wayne was mad at him because when you had the NFL in New Orleans and Lil Wayne wasn't part of the halftime show, it was like, what the hell? Y'all in my hometown, you couldn't even get me? People thought like, damn, Jay-Z is in this position. For sure, Lil Wayne is going to be there.
Agencies like the Department of Justice release materials with careful legal framing for a reason. Records are not rulings, and allegations are not verdicts. The legal system distinguishes between accusation and adjudication, but public discourse often collapses that difference. This creates a risk of trial by inference on one side, and complacency through complexity on the other. The challenge is how to maintain due process while still meeting the demand for clarity.
It's just...
Like you said, normally he'll have people come up in a panel. And that was strategically set up to where it was, you couldn't defend yourself, you couldn't speak, and then it was taken down. That tells the story in itself. If you don't mind, Jag, what we want to do is, we had what is considered, because at the end of this, you're still a musical star. Also, you're an orator now as well. But we had, music's biggest night. And the 2026 Grammys have came and went.
I didn't watch.
You didn't watch? Wow.
I didn't watch. I saw some clips online. Salute to Belial. I'm glad that he was being acknowledged.
Yes.
I don't know. I didn't want to watch. I didn't even want to watch the so-called tribute that they did, because it just made me think about Angie Stone and all of that. Like, it's just
No, without question. And rest in peace to Mrs. Stone and to D'Angelo.
Like, that whole thing is weird. The two of them passing away.
Too many question marks.
And nobody seems to care. There were a bunch of YouTubers that were here online playing detective and acting like they cared about what happened, and then all of that just disappeared. And there's a lot of suspect shit going on, and I'm just sitting there looking, and I was thinking to myself, once upon a time, it would have been fair to think that I would have been a part of that tribute as well, before I separated myself from the industry, before I removed myself.
Recent cultural reckonings involving figures like Sean Combs have shifted perception by showing that status does not guarantee immunity. Even without drawing direct conclusions about unrelated cases, such moments change how new disclosures are interpreted. Once the idea of untouchability weakens, every new allegation is viewed through a different lens. The question then becomes whether this shift produces justice, or simply momentum-driven suspicion.
Pinned it on a Grammy nomination or a Grammy award once upon a time. And now that I've started, moving closer to God and moving away from all of this devil-loving satanic crap, it just reminds me of certain things. Thou shalt not bow down to graven images and stuff like that. And, the kind of things that we choose to idolize and stuff like that. And it's, where does it all come from? I don't know if you guys heard, but before we went, I wanted to just send out an acknowledgement of condolences to little John. His son was found.
Oh, they found him?
Yeah, his son is gone. No different than my son. And I'm going to tell you something right now. When your child passes away, it is a pain. So condolences to him.
Condolences, yeah. No, I saw him missing. I haven't saw the details of in which they found him, but I know he was missing. So definitely condolences.
He's been found, apparently.
Wow. The only question I had in regards to the Grammys.
What about the Grammys?
Kendrick Lamar, you did, you came in, you had a great conversation with us about the whole beef with him and Drake. You applauded his career.
I did. I applauded his career. I applauded a lot of things, and then I started finding other things out.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that hip hop was going to have a hero to come along to fight for the culture, to save the culture. I guess we're gonna keep looking. I think that his success is amazing, and I think it gives a lot of kids hope. And yet,
in the end, a documentary cannot deliver verdicts. It can only organize questions. But its existence reflects a demand for structure over rumor and documentation over reputation. Yet the central tension remains unresolved. Influence thrives in the space between what is known and what is proven. Accountability only begins when that space starts to close.